Hi. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, cool. Yes, I'm just kind of in a makeshift arrangement. I'm traveling,
Oh,
so
okay, sir.
I'm just connecting you guys from hotel room.
That's fine, sir. No problem.
Right. So how do we go about this?
Yes, sir. We'll begin.
Yeah. So shall I just start off, or is there anything else that you're supposed to do, or something like that?
No, sir. We'll just greet everyone and we'll begin. I'll start.
Okay. Yeah. So when you guys say good to go ahead, I'll just share the screen also, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Right. So who am I speaking to? Riddhi, right?
Yes, sir. I'm Riddhi.
Okay. Right. So you guys are which year?
Sir, students from all year will be joining. Currently, I'm from third year.
From third year. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So all of you are from home, right? No one is in college as of now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yes, sir.
There has been no creation. How can there be the beginning? Creation
Sorry,
is continuous.
should we wait for something or shall I just start off? That's what I'm asking.
Sir, we'll just begin with a small introduction for you, and then we'll hand over.
Great. So you'll be taking Riddhi is taking it, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I'll
Myself.
just wait for your signature. Cool.
Okay, okay, sir. Yes, Kajal, you can continue.
Yeah. There has been no creation. How can there be the beginning? Creation is continuous. It is the creativity. No matter how backwards you look, you cannot find the beginning. Looking ahead, the end is also not visible because it is all a process. Designing is the exact same. It has no beginning, no end.
A very good morning to our valued guests, fellow students, respected teachers, and everyone virtually connected today. On behalf of the students of Department of Architecture, the Maharaja Sayajirao University, I, Riddhi.
And I, Kajal, welcome you all to the fourth edition of Atelier.
Atelier is a series of lectures which was started by the Department of Architecture in 2019. It is a platform for sharing knowledge, transmitting ideas amongst people from different spheres of architecture. This lecture series creates an opportunity to gain knowledge and acts as a window looking upon the very topics out there, providing us with a taste of real life experience. Atelier connects the students with professionals of this field and paves a way for open discussions and learning.
Architect Manoj Madhu is a graduate in architecture from IIT Roorkee and founder of Monsoon Collective. He has been part of ITC Ltd, EHDD, and 100 Hands, among others, before setting up his own practice.
Having worked in Indian and international companies of different scales, he has gained insight into different processes and details. He has worked on projects of different typologies, residential, institutional, hospitality, commercial, and retail in various locations in the country, gaining an all round experience.
On behalf of our department, we welcome you, sir. Without any more delay, I would like to hand over to architect Manoj Madhu.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks a lot for this invitation and thanks a lot for having me here. Right. Probably, I mean, this digital thing has connected us all. Okay. Probably this wouldn't have happened if I was supposed to come over there often. It's the digital. Like recently, I gave a webinar to my alma mater also, IIT Roorkee. Right. So that would have also not happened if this whole COVID thing and people weren't accustomed to the whole digital age. Right. But nevertheless, yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me. Yeah, it's a honor and pleasure to be showing a couple of my works. All right. I'll just share my screen before I start off. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I am not here to show all my projects as such. Okay, so the whole agenda of this presentation is going to be in such a way that I'll be just showing a few elements or items of our projects, right, which is in line with the whole topic or scheme that we have put up as it rethinking the existing. So even the existing, I have taken it in two different ways. One is as in existing spaces or existing elements, not spaces, elements, as in the wall, the roof, or the window, and how we can rethink or reinvent an existing or some items or materials or something that has been already used in something or repurpose it, or as we call it, upcycle it. Okay, so this whole presentation is going to be a series of images from various projects that we have done. All right, we are not a very old practice, we are a young practice. So I started practice in 2015. We rebranded ourselves in recently in March. Right, that's when we just started putting our projects out in the limelight or Instagram or whatever you call it. Okay, until then we were all like doing projects as such. So how I'll just go through this project, these elements or the spaces that we have done. Right. I mean, at the end, you guys are open to ask questions if you have any or whatever it is. Right. So I'm just sharing the photo of our team. Recently, take photo of the team. Right. So whatever I'm showing here or whatever we have done or we are doing is basically as a team, as of all of us together. So I'm here more like a spokesman for the whole team. Though I'm called as a principal architect, I'm not like the boss or I'm not the guy who conceptualize everything. So there's a whole team effort. This is like my home as well as the studio that's on the background, right? And this is like the architects, the 3D visualizer, and the interns as such. Like we recently taken photo, right? So whatever I'm going to speak is basically I'm just a face for them as such, the whole teamwork as we do it. And so as I said, this whole presentation, I'm going to spanning it upon three elements that we have rethought or reinvented, or yeah, you can use any word, like detailed out differently, redesigned as well. So it'll be like two examples of walls that we have done, two examples of roofs that we have done, and two examples of windows that we have done. Right. So I just didn't want to go through the cliche route of showing my projects or my design process. Right. I can just keep talking about those things. So I thought, let me put in something that you can take to your college life or the way you do your college submissions. Where basically submissions, I know pretty much submissions are done in the last night only, right? You guys end up doing a submission in the last night. I mean, I also did the same thing in my college days, right? But there'll be some elements that you can take up, some details that you can understand, and also, how do you say, what a personal touch. I can always speak about that. We have, yeah, a lot of materials already. Then we are still cutting through the virgin materials available on Earth. Why don't we relook at reusing the built material that is already available, the materials that is already used for something else, rather than demolishing it and sending it to landfill? Why don't we look at reusing it into a new way, which also serves the purpose of function, right? And but at the same time, gives a certain aesthetic appeal and also uh, certain value to the whole project, right? So that's kind of item that idea that I want to convey through these images or this presentation. Right. So the first, I'm showing you a wall for a project that we called Tab Villa. It's in a place called Idukki in Kerala. Okay, so it's called Tab. Basically, it's Thomas and Betsy who are like the owners of the house. So that becomes Tab and Villa. That's how we came up with the name. Right. So this is the wall that I'm talking about that you see on the left. Right. This is the whole house. I'm not going to sit down and speak how we planned the house. Right. So I just want to just look at this wall. Right. So when we are from Kerala, and the whole Kerala theme is about talking about Laurie Baker. That's the name that it comes to everyone's month. But what happens is like everyone in then for the name of Laurie Baker, we are just copying what he used to do, expose brickwork, filler slabs, arches, and all those things. Right. And the time changed, things moved on, but we were still stuck with what Laurie Baker was doing. So what we thought was we needed to do a wall which to cover the master bedroom, but at the same time we wanted to do it differently, or rather I would say in a modern way. So we had a wall. We wanted to use brick, kind of a tribute to Laurie Baker, and we wanted to use technology. These were the key pointers that we had in mind. So how can we rethink a wall, a brick wall? There have been already multiple ideas that have been running, especially in Kerala with brick walls and also other places. So we went to our good friend Rhino with Grasshopper plugin, right? So we wanted to create some shapes and we wanted to use bricks as modules. So we worked out, obviously, yeah, did a lot of YouTubing, and we worked out few algorithms and these things, and we came out with a system where we can give an image and create the the depiction in brick. Brick becomes one of your modules, and using these systems we were able to generate any kind of shape if we upload a grayscale image. So this is basically your flowchart or algorithm, whatever you call it in this thing, right? So we created the whole system, and we wanted to create a ripple effect because there was some stream nearby, and we wanted to showcase the whole point of monsoon, as we call it. So water and all. So we tried to create a ripple effect. So we used brick as a module and loaded it into Rhino, and we got the whole image out. So this is the kind of the images that we got out of Rhino, and add a shadow effect and all. Right. Then what we did is we took the whole module out, and we had each courses laid out, knowing what is the position of each bricks, what is the angle that each brick has to be done, and obviously then we went to like hardware mode, and these are interns who are with us, who was doing these works with us. So using basically 15 centimeter scale and a small protractor, and with two masons that help, and over a week's time we laid these 26 courses, and this is how we started building the whole wall. I'm just showing them. So this is like the wall with before the basic finest sealant coat that was added. So you have the brick. This is the raw brick before even we had to add a sealant, right? This is Kerala, so we have to do something to protect it from moisture and moss and all those things. So this was the brickwork that we have done. You can see the painter cleaning up. So this is how it was incorporated to the whole house. Right. So this is where you can see us adding the sealant coat to protect it from the rain and moisture and all the moss that comes in. So you can look at it, how each brick has been laid and is holding onto a concrete wall at the back. And this is how it came out in the end. So this is like one of the options that we have done for wall. Right. Then another option again, we want to show you another wall that we did. Again, this is the project called Brickwhale, which we have been covered recently on, multiple platforms. Right. Here we took it into the next level. Right. So this is a residence. So I'm going to talk about this wall here, not the other two walls. One is a concrete wall and the other is a brick wall again. So I'm just going to talk about this wall here, where what we did is there was this house that was being demolished nearby. So these guys were basically taking the terracotta roof tiles and throwing it away. So we said, "Yaar, de do hame ye tiles." We just, for about 5,000 rupees, we got the whole set of tiles from that house, and we said we'll use it in some way. So this is also a basic idea from what we used to do in Kerala. So all the tile factories or old homes in Kerala, they used to make the compound wall using terracotta tile. So if you go to a tile factory, there are still tile factories whose compound walls are made of their tiles, which for some reason has been lost, and architects are looking forward to so-called modern concrete blocks and AAC blocks. So we took that. We did a couple of studies, like does a unit of 3 will work, 2 will work, 4 will work, because we had to look at what plane becomes strong, which bonds will work out properly. It has to look good also. So we collected it. We used it as modules of 3 terracotta tiles, started laying in this Flemish bond kind of system. So you can see that. So we laid one line, then the next line. We slowly corrected the levels using cement mortar in between, and we get out. So you can see our masons working tirelessly. So you can see the edge where it meets the door. This is the main door, and you have a brick wall finishing of the edge. So you can see one is the teak door on the side, and the other is where it meets the brick wall. How the details were worked out in that way, so that it doesn't look, what do you say, bad, but at the same time it has to look structurally sound also. We inserted a small window in between it, so even those edges had to be really worked out. Yeah, we were thankful to have a nice set of masons there, and of course, yeah, my team was there like almost round the clock to see this through. So you can see how this whole thing was shaped, and this is the final output, where they are living here since last October. So this is where this edge detail where where the terracotta met the teak door with a small beading that we gave. Right, we had to color it red. Obviously, it was too old to be exposed, and yeah, it takes a fight to convince client to leave that as such. So you can see that old materials could be reused and rethought into a new way, which serves the purposes. It is not a load bearing. There's a beam that goes up, so it's not a load bearing wall, but you can use this as a load bearing also, and it gives a certain aesthetics to the whole house. So you have the whole small courtyard in the front, and this is how the whole place looks right now. So these were 2 examples what I wanted to show, that walls, how you can rethink it, rather than every walls to be either a straight wall or a wall with cladding or wall with texture paints, right? Why can't we look at how the wall is actually made itself, rather than a wall becoming a normal wall with either made of blocks or bricks or laterite stone or sandstone? Why don't you relook at how the walls is made, and let that construction methodology of the wall speak out and become an aesthetic element, being art, rather than you make a wall, then finish it off in it, and you add all the wallpapers, texture paint, everything just to make a wall look good. Why can't a wall inherently look good? And why can't we rethink how a wall is made, and why can't we rethink the materials that have been used to make walls? So there are these questions that you can always ask yourself, rather than architect being someone who sketches and draws and make things look good. We should rather enter how things are made, right? Not just in terms of product design or being chairs and other things. Why in the aesthetic elements of a small thing like a house? There are so many elements in house, right? So this is one of there are other elements in this house. I run a presentation on just this project as we have about 10, 12 elements that have been rethought, right? But I cannot go around talking everything. So these were 2 walls. Next, I'm going to talk about roofs. So again, taking from Laurie Baker, there's something called filler slab, which all of you guys would have studied. So Laurie Baker was famous for doing filler slabs using, again, terracotta tiles. So what we did, we took it a bit more. Like I know Anupama Kundu has done using fish curry pots in her project for Biennale, and even in the project in Pondicherry. So what we did is we got pots, like these are pots that are used to make fish curry in Kerala, and the smaller ones are the pots that you use for smoking during puja. Along with that, we took from scrapyard parts of vehicles, cars and other things. So the things that you see are parts of gear or engine or tire. So we added brick chains, which I'll show you. And we also added a couple of glass blocks so that we can bring in light from the top. Then the other part is, if we have to do it, we try to create a pattern. And to that, we cannot follow the usual systems of reinforcement of like orthogonal reinforcement. Even we took a liberty to play around with the reinforcement as well. Now you can see the reinforcement on the back, it is straight lines. Here we made it angular also. It works okay. This is on my head right now. We work here, right? So this is how you can start looking at roofs as such. So this is my cabin, how it was working out, right? So we started inserting lights within the pot. So instead of just giving a separate tube light, we made a small hole in the pot and added conduits onto it and put in the wires. So this is again a brick wall there. So this is what it looks like right now. So we brought in a bike chain coming from top that holds the light. And then this is my cabin. So you can see lights coming from the pots. This was kind of photo taken yesterday, right? So this is like what you see from our studio. And this is my cabin with the brick wall over here. So these are like edges have been shown across and all. So looking at items where you can rethink how a roof can be done. So this is my top floor, my our terrace floor, our studio terrace floor. So where we used filler slab, the usual Laurie Baker style, where we have used terracotta tiles in using. So I can go on talking about how it saves concrete, how it is cooler than everything. It looks nice, it looks raw, rustic, blah 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 blah, usual jargon. But the whole point is how this whole space looks different, right? You have a unique space. This is like our stair room. We have bay windows from a stair room. There is a certain kind of experience that you have when we sit down the bay window and sketch and all. So the quality of space is different and it resonates with the people who are sitting there. Right. Then the other one, what I wanted to show is again the brickwale roof. So there was a central courtyard that we have, and yeah, so central courtyard which is becoming a puja room as well. So usually, as like any other client, they come and say, yeah, we need to be open. Then afterwards, after 2 rains, they say no, if it is open, it becomes too flooded. Then they come and no, let's put glass. Then they say the glass is too hot. So the whole cycle with clients happened. So what we did is, okay, we'll put a glass, but we want the rain to come in. How do we do that? Right. So the usual thing is you put a mosquito mesh or that fiber mesh, where the water comes in and water pours and it doesn't have a consistent flow, but that brings in a lot of heat also. So what we went ahead and did is, this is the terrace, this is courtyard with the puja in the center. We have, of course, a glass thing. This is coolant glass, like low emissivity glass from chain Gobi. So it's more light and less heat that comes in. And we add a small little element that lets, when it rains, the water comes through this area and causes a cascade. Like this. That's my daughter playing the water. So that's what we did. We brought in the water inside rather than just making it like a mundane, normal courtyard roof. So this is the detail. You have toughened glass and all those normal thing. We just added a small little element here in metal, so that the water, when it comes in, it just pours here. You can see, I mean, I'm not going to bluff here. You saw how water is coming down. And it comes here. There is a small pedestal for that they can stand and light the lamp or anything. And the water comes in, it colors, it goes to the rainwater harvesting tank at the back. So this is like an illustration one of my interns did. So you can see the courtyard glass here. This white is actually a metal piece. So the water comes in, come here, it collects over here. And then you can see the small drain point where the water goes in. This is how it looks from the top. We have a small mesh here so that mosquitoes or any other leaf and other things doesn't come in. You can remove it and wash it. So it's just like you can see the clips here. There are 4 clips. You just remove the clips, you take it out, you clean it. So all those little details have been taken care to create that kind of an effect there. And yeah, client is happy. Yeah, so the rain also comes in, light also comes in. It's a central courtyard. Right. So those were 2 roofs. Again, I'm repeating the whole thing. Why can't you rethink roofs? Yeah, again, one of the options was reusing scrap, right? We used old terracotta tiles. We used parts of vehicles cars, bikes, whatever it is, use glass blocks from an old project to bring in light and all those things. Now this is another one. This was a balcony was supposed to be made, right, for a house. So they wanted it to be safe, but they also wanted the wind to come in. And how we just didn't want to do the usual. You always see the standard lower system that you see, or you do a large grill, or you do a jali, right? So why can't we rethink it? But again, within a budget, we didn't want to use wood because again, yeah, the whole sustainable kida John there. So that was there inside. So using that, we created this lower system. Okay, so this is the lower system. How we used WPC. I'll come back to it. So rather than I'll just show you one video and then I'll go back to those. So this is how the lure works. I'll come back to that again. So what we did is we use something called WPC planks, right, which is pretty cheap, right? The whole system's one WPC comes under 2,000 rupees, just whole one length, not even 2,000, less than that, right? So we cut into it. We just made this small little pieces in MS steel structure. Steel. We did this in CNC cut. This whole thing. Really, for system here. So this WPC always has this whole cavity here. We made this whole MS frame. As you can see here, there is this MS frame here, and made a small hole in the MS frame, right? And inserted these fellows there. So that's, you can see that MS frame, one hole, WPC being inserted, WPC frame being inserted. So in close-up, this is how it works. No ball bearing, nothing. It just works because the measurements was proper. So again, I'll show you how the whole thing works. And this is how it looks from inside. So that's a balcony. Yeah, it's like just over 3 feet wide. This is how this is basically some gray wall painted, and this is this thing. Cladec is the brand name. It's called it's a WPC wood plastic composite. You guys would have been aware of this already, right? So the last one. This is the window in our studio as such. This is one that got us a lot of multiple national level awards as also. Yeah, of course, I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan, apart from the last season, of course. Right. So, of course, the whole idea sparked, I think, season 5 or one of those, when I was watching the titles, this whole idea for this window sparked. So this is the window. Right. So you have 3 squares that rotates on different pivots. Right. I just go through it. So normally when you look up window, you can open a window horizontally or open a window vertically, or you can pivot it horizontally, or you can pivot it vertically, the usual thing. But why can't a single window do all these things? That was a question that we were asking. Then we saw the lamp from the citadel of Game of Thrones. Right. This is in the title sequence. We made a window that is heavy, vertically pivoted, horizontally pivoted, and vertically pivoted. You can work on it horizontally as well as vertically. So it's a 4 feet square. So subsets of 1 feet, 1 feet, 1 feet. You do that. So you get these subsets. So this is how this is basically made of teak, local teak wood, and plain glass and some locally purchased pivots. That's it. No complications or no glamorous names. Right. Now what I get is when fully closed, this is how we get it. I can open it to create such an aperture or even this aperture, or I can do it in this aperture. So you can see that multiple aperture and these things happen. Now the thing that got unknowingly or unintentionally was we have strong winds, right? This is the western side, so we have winds from southwest. So when the wind comes in, this rotates really strong, really vigorously, this whole Game of Thrones window. And you have a western sun post lunch. Because of there's really nice glare or some kind of light and shadows that is being created by this window, which goes on to make shadows in the whole office itself. Right. So what I'll do is I'll just show you a video. Just hold on. I'll have to change my share settings. Right, I hope you are seeing this video. See. All right. Yes, so back to the presentation. So that's it. Yep. So I just wanted to show you like 6 elements, 6 projects that we did, 6 elements that we did, rather than showing you all the projects, and hopefully gives some kind of inspiration to rethink every element that you guys do, rather than follow the dogmatic system that we have been doing for 70, 100 years in India, and rethink how you can relook at each element, be it the minute scale or on a large scale, even if you're working on acres of land. And also look at how materials have been used rather than the usual traditional ways or conventional use. How can look at materials being used? And of course, with the whole sustainable pen chant that has been going around, especially recently, how can we relook at reusing, upcycling materials and give a better function and better aesthetics and better purpose to the spaces that you design? Right? That's pretty much it.
Yes, sir. I'm sure it will surely work as an inspiration for all of us. Thank you, sir. And now we declare the session open for question and answers. Those who have questions, please raise your hand, or maybe you can unmute and ask your questions. The option for chat box may not be available, so you'll have to raise your hand to ask the question.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yeah, hi, who is this?
Yes, this is Nishan Detwal from the third year.
Yeah, hi, Nishan. Yeah, where are you from?
Yes, I'm from Ahmedabad.
You're from Ahmedabad, good.
Yes,
shoot.
Sir, actually, I would like to give a big compliment on your work. It's really inspiring to all of us. And I have just one question, sir. Like you told us to rethink about the brick bonds in the walls. So I have just a question, like if we break the monotonicity of these brick bonds, so does it affect the strength of that wall?
No, you will, they go, all these walls that I'm showing, we have done samples and testing. Okay,
yes, sir.
So that's what I was saying. Like it has to serve the purpose of the function also. Right. So it has to be structurally sound. Like you cannot simply out there, you want to have a certain form. You cannot just go ahead and build it. You have to find it out. Like what you saw was the final output. We did multiple experiments, multiple sample sets. We had strength tests done to ensure that works. Right. So maybe for strength tests, you will have to tweak a bit to ensure the distribution point is proper, distribution load is run. So how do we find that sweet spot, like utilitas, veritas, and S.A.S, as you say, like the 3 principles? So it has to look functionally work, structurally strong, and as well as it has to be aesthetically done. So these brick bonds, when you play around, you have to find that spot where it's structurally sound also. You have to break your back. So,
yes, sir.
As I said, Rhino gave me something, but I was able to do it because I got my hands dirty. I had a good set of masons to help me out, suggest, guide me, right? So we were there at the
Yes.
site in the heat, sorting it out. So there were some tweaks we had to do as well. We moved it up 1 centimeter inside to ensure the distribution load was proper. Else this brick, like for the tap villa, else the brick would have fallen up into the front. So we moved it slightly inside so that it became like distribution load was proper. So those
Yes.
tweaks happened at site, and that was suggested by the mason. No architect bring. The mason at the site, he knew what that has to be done. He told me. Then we found a way at the site. So architecture, a lot of on the go. You have to be street smart and all.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi,
Yes, sir. Thank
Riddhi,
you,
can
sir.
I come in?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Hello, good evening,
Hello.
Manoj.
Yeah, good
It
evening,
was really at the last moment. I just came from the department and I received this call, and it was really a delight to be part of your presentation. And our alma mater is same. I've done my masters from Roorkee. So when I was just going through the introduction, the students have sent it to me. I could make out that a person who is a systems person, talking about the detail about the window, detail about the each and every part of the building. It's really innovative, and I think it was much needed for our students. And I'm very sure that I used to talk about, the Bala concept in the schools, which has been applied, and each part is each part of the building is talking about something or other, or it is contributing rather than just wallpaper or just making some finishes. If it can serve some purpose, I think your presentation has strengthened that belief, and I'm thankful that you're part of Atelier. And of course, it is nice to meet a person from your alma mater. So that's great. Yeah. Which year passed out, Manoj?
I graduated in 2010.
2010.
Yeah, 2005 to 2010.
Okay, that's great. I was way back in 94. I did my post graduation from there.
Yeah, then it was University of Roorkee.
Yeah, it was University of Roorkee. I think very next year it has become IIT Roorkee.
It was in 2001. It became IIT Roorkee.
Yeah.
So you would have known my Sahu sir and all. I don't know if you know Kumar Sahu sir.
Kambo. Yeah. I know him.
Those they taught me as well.
Okay. So I have couple of my juniors teaching there actually. Harshil Lakra. Is she taught you?
They joined after 11. I'm in touch with my college, so
both of us did it from MNIT Bhopal. So that is the connection. But I don't know whether you've heard of Ratan Kumar or not.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
I'm not. MNIT is where we did our ANC in my third year. I remember that.
No, I've been to Roorkee. I've been to IIT Roorkee for a conference that is in year 2019. Just before COVID. Yeah. Before COVID.
I remember it was done by Chani sir and all were involved.
Chari used to be a research scholar when I was doing my masters. So
in his bullet, right?
Yeah. Currently, he's head of the department. Yeah.
Yeah, he's head of it. Yeah, we are in touch with him also.
Yeah.
So nice talking to him.
Yeah. Same here. So you are based in Trivandrum?
Cochin. Yeah, right now I'm in Trivandrum. Cochin, and I have office in Bangalore as well. We do projects like I'm doing a project in Jaipur also.
Actually, I worked way back in 94, 95, 96. I worked with HUDCO. And I was very closely associated with Building Center Movement. And Laurie Baker used to come often to HUDCO, and we were involved in setting up the building centers in different states. And all the cost-effective building material. All this was my area of work in my initial career. So I
most of the young architects right now root ourselves in Laurie Baker's, those sketches that he's made, those books that he shared. So that's like kind of a go-to thing for us.
Yeah. So we used to be, it was a delight to be in trade fair, setting up our building center, stall, and talking about all these, and helping various state and various places to set up the building center. So your presentation, actually, it was nostalgic, and I was sort of recollecting.
You're welcome again. You can drop in again. Just give me a ring. I'll be happy to host you.
Sure. Please do share your number. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think we want to do a lot of things here, because when I left HUDCO and I was coming to MSU, again, way back in 96. So you might know V. Suresh.
Yeah, that I know. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So I work very closely with V. Suresh. So
nice.
He gave me this thing that go to Gujarat and set up building center, because we are unable to set up in Gujarat. It's prosperity is too much, so people don't believe in,
too much money.
Yeah, too much money. So he was telling that you must go and set up that there. But anyway, it didn't work for very long. I think it could not succeed so much. But I think we can reinvent. We can revisit this entire thing and can do a lot of things.
Sure, ma'am. Sure, definitely.
So nice. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. You may carry on, Riddhi. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So we have. I have a question from one of my classmates. He wants to ask if how clients respond to this on-site innovations, and what are their insecurities, and how do you deal with them? Like, there may be some objections and obstructions.
Okay, there are two parts to it. Okay, so first part one is when you start up the project itself, the client usually comes to you knowing what you do. Right. So client is already expecting that you're going to do something different. Right. So we also have tried to kind of, I wouldn't say super choosy, but slightly try to choose clients who are in line with what we do.
Yes.
So there itself, we have done our first round of screening, right? Right. And second part, whenever we do work at site, the client can see we don't call them client anymore. They become like a friends to us. Okay. So the owner or whatever it is. So they see the kind of effort that we put. Right. I'll be there. My architects would be there. The interns would be there. We would be breaking our back, trying to solve something. So they're like, right. We did a rammed earth for one of the residences. And the client was one of the guys who was ramming for us. Right, he was there right on top of the whole shuttering system, ramming, and also he just saw the whole effort and he became part of it. So there are two. So we have to screen that, and when he sees that we are doing a lot of effort beyond the fees that was given to us, he knows that there is certain kind of there is something special that we are trying to do. Right. So he'll come in tune. Okay, these guys are putting in effort beyond the calling of the fees or whatever it is. So let's see how it goes. If it works, I will accept. Else, I will not accept. So we are trying to make it work, right? And if it works, why should the client say no?
Yes.
He's looking at function. He's looking at budget. I get those two parts tick. Third part he leaves to me, the aesthetics part.
Yes, sir.
So yeah. So thankfully, we have been blessed with some really good set of clients. Right. Even we are working with government. There are large scale projects also that we are working with. There also we had really good guys and top officials in the government. Right, not like the usual Babu kind of people, but really good people who have been helpful understanding sustainability design and all. Right. So, but yeah, bottom line is that first round is screening. Second is you have to put in effort. You have to believe what you're trying to do and show that you believe. Do not that you sit in your studio and you keep talking over the phone or send messages or WhatsApp. Be on the ground. Show that this means something to you. They'll be with you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. Hello, sir.
Yeah.
This is Vrusha here. Here.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. So basically, sir, the question was like, we have seen your wall made up of that Mangalore tile. It was the used Mangalore tile. It was a scratch. So the question was like, if it is a scratch or it is a used material, so the strength of that particular material won't be same. Like
better. Clay strengthens over time.
Oh.
It's like a stone.
But the strength of the Mangalore tile itself won't compensate over the bricks. Like the strength of Mangalore tile, will it be the same like a brick, or it would be less? Or how do you tackle?
You cannot compare. You cannot directly compare like an apple to apple comparison. Right. That's why I said, right, we did that 3 module systems. 2 was too weak. It was breaking in the center. 4 was too bulky. 4 terracotta was too bulky. So 3 was the right number that was working structurally fine. It was looking good. It was playing. Right. So you have to do that trial and error, which is structurally good. Right.
Yeah,
so obviously clay over the time, because it was seasoned, metamorphosis happened, and it was stronger than the clay that was actually made. Right. So there was an inherent bearing capacity that is there. We did that experiment by using first 3 bricks. We stood on that. It's not breaking. Done. 2 was breaking. So we are not using 2. 4 was looking too bulky to play around with. So 3 was the right shape that we wanted. We went ahead with 3. So your question is absolutely right. We had that question. We tried it out, and then we came up with this.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And sir, what was the binding material you used in that?
We use cement.
Cement.
Yeah, we didn't want to. Like Kerala, we cannot risk using mud because you get very torrential rain. This mud will just, and these are 2 sets of mud made during 2 different times. The clay tile would have been like 50 years old, and you have a very virgin clay. Right. So they'll have torrential rain hitting from the side, and the clay will erode after a while, and it will crack.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to take the risk. Cement is there. Chalo karte hain.
Yes, sir. Right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, anyone? Yes, Khushi.
I have a question. That pod roof thing that you did. So has it? What are its climatic implications? Like, how does it help with respect to climate? Like,
help with respect. Obviously, they go. What the client wanted was to have light in the center of the house. Right. So that whole item becomes your light well. There is a good amount of light in the house. You don't need electrical. It helps you slightly on stack effect because that becomes a low pressure area. So I have windows all around this courtyard. So wind will gush in. Right. So in terms of climate and Bernoulli's theorem, that's what I can throw in. And it is a low emissivity glass, seen could be I think SG187 or someone. So you don't have too much heat coming in. Mostly light comes in. Heat is slightly lower. Yeah, so that's it. Like the whole house lights up when wind works in. Yeah, those are 2 things that you look for house, right? Light and ventilation. Yeah, that's it.
okay.
Yeah, thanks, Khushi. Anyone else?
Does someone have any question?
Yes, sir. Last one. Yeah. Yes,
no, don't be last. I can answer, no issues.
Okay. Yes, Abhishek, go ahead.
Yeah.
Hi,
so, hello, sir. I just saw the wall, which was firstly programmed in Rhino. So basically, when we are studying and we are learning new softwares nowadays and experimenting with things that we can do, and we're experimenting with forms, and that is all that our education system has to teach us. So while experimenting such different crazy things or things which we fantasize about and things that we want to do, we do use plugins and softwares, as you called friends, like Rhino and Grasshopper. But how because at times what I feel is after designing something and after thinking of something, it bothers that how could it be fabricated, how it would work actually on site. So when you designed that wall, which was a repulsion effect of some kind of water, which was giving that notion of
ripple.
A ripple, Yeah. So, how it was actually on site and how it went is my question.
You saw the photos at site, right? So that is what
Yes,
it is.
yes,
It's standing there.
yes.
They moved in 2018. It is still there. Okay. So how it, when we like Rhino, when you do that software, when we do it, did it in software itself, we have an experience of site, right? I mean, just maybe tracking to the start of the question, right? You in college, what you get is all this so-called dialogues and forms and fantasy and all, right? But no one teaches you the hardships and the process that goes beyond it, behind it, not beyond it, behind it, right? So there are a lot of things that you learn at site, right? Like you might have to think like an engineer or a layman or like a accountant at site. Okay, so you gain a lot of things from the site, like in this case, how a brick works, how a brick bond works, what is the distribution load, and like you might have learned, right? You have an arch, you have a keystone, distribution loads comes and add keystone. So the brick is a central point. You have to ensure the central point keeps transferring to central point of it. That's how you can take the brick this way. That's pretty much what I did there. I ensured the brick is such a way that half of the brick is never beyond the center of gravity of the brick below it. Okay, so that thought was there right when I started working on Rhino. So we added that variable onto it so that the brick doesn't move beyond a certain point. At the site, we had a concrete kind of like a mortar wall on the back, which the mason gave us an idea, so that there will be a mortar weight which will ensure this doesn't topple this way. And we moved it 1 centimeter inside the plinth and we kept it so that we can finish at the bottom. So that was Mason's idea. So you have an idea from physics, Rhino, architecture, and site knowledge. So all these things culminate. It's not just one single thing that you do, right? You have to wear multiple hats at a time. So when I used Grasshopper, right, or you use Ladybug, whatever you use, right? We use Ladybug also to do climate analysis. So we need to understand a lot of things that actually happens in the site and that marry it. Similarly, as you started, and whenever you learn something in college, almost everything you learn in college helps you in professional life. You should know when to use it, how to use it, where to use it. That's the bottom line. Like in college, they don't teach you how to use it. And that's what I always felt. They'll give you this whole Sushil Kumar and all those fellows. They'll come up, will give you all those documents, but you don't know where to use it, how to use it, right? You sit down and draft brick bonds on GP or GP. Yeah, who drafts? Everyone GPs. Okay, so that's what happens. Right. So, but you should be taught how it works at site. You should be thrown to the site. You should do a really good internship. Like rather than doing a 6-month internship, do 1-year internship, which teaches you. So all these knowledge gets amalgamated, and with experience, when you know a few things. So when you work at software, you know something from the site has to be thrown into software. And when you work at site, you know something from the theory of the software has to be thrown to site. So you need to do the juggler. That's pretty much it. That's how we work. I mean, all the projects that you see, like even the Game of Thrones window, if the wood wasn't teak, if I used a heavier wood, it wouldn't have rotated. So I had to use the exact wood, exact thickness. I had to chisel off it in the so whether it rotates in a smoother way. If the frame was thicker, it wouldn't have rotated. If I had a thicker glass, it wouldn't have rotated because of the weight. The pivot ball bearing would have come down. How would I know? Because I knew teak is easily available in Kerala. It is one of the lightest one. It has high oil content. It doesn't change with temperature. If it expands and contracts with temperature, again the pivot will loosen up and tight at times. So all those things came from experience. That's what if I go on lecturing, I can take half an hour on each product. Yeah, but that's another day probably. I hope I have done justice with an answer.
Yeah. Agreed, sir. Yes. Got it. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Someone else raised a hand, I guess. Okay, it's not raised anymore. So anyone else? I guess maybe we can conclude the session.
Okay.
We have been hearing the 3 R's for quite a while now, but today we were introduced to a level beyond that. Upcycling is a really unique way to go to satisfy our sustainable KIDA. Best out of waste is something which we have been taught since childhood, and it was really satisfying to watch it being applied today in the architecture world. The small things around us are the solutions to our problems if we are just curious enough to look. The notion to make something new from existing rather than digging into new materials is something that needs to come out, and something that you have really inspired us, sir. Just like Jon Snow, we at our student level know nothing, and we thank you for enlightening us with these beautiful ideas. Thank you, sir. It was really our pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks. The honor is all mine. Thanks a lot. See you guys. Take care.
Thank you, sir.